Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo was released in 1958 to lukewarm reviews and box office disappointment. It wasn't until decades later that critics and audiences began to reassess the film, eventually calling it not only Hitchcock's greatest work, but one of the greatest films ever made. But is Vertigo truly a masterpiece, or does it simply benefit from retrospective praise? Let's explore the good and the bad. Let's begin with the good, and in Vertigo's case, there's a lot of it. First, the cinematography. Vertigo is a visual masterclass. Cinematographer Robert Burks uses color, shadow, and camera movement to reflect the psychological state of the characters. The iconic dolly zoom effect, used to simulate the feeling of vertigo, is still taught in film schools. The dreamlike quality of the visuals, particularly in the scenes set around San Francisco, are breathtaking. They give the film a hypnotic, almost surreal mood. Second, the use of color. No film uses color quite like Vertigo. Green represents illusion and fantasy. Red and blue carry emotional weight. Judy, the woman Scotty tries to transform, is literally dressed in the colors of Madeline, the woman he's obsessed with. It's all deliberate, and it makes rewatching the film a rewarding visual experience. Every costume, every background is doing something thematic. Third, the score by Bernard Herrmann. His music isn't just background, it's part of the atmosphere. The swirling, romantic, yet ominous score captures the mood of obsession and doom perfectly. It reinforces the dreamlike pull of the story and amplifies every emotional beat. In many ways, Herrmann's music is the voice of the film's subconscious. Fourth, thematic depth. Vertigo is a film about obsession, control, and identity. It explores the male gaze in a disturbing, self-aware way. James Stewart's character, Scotty, is not a hero. He's damaged, manipulative, and increasingly unhinged. The way he attempts to mold Judy into his lost ideal is haunting. It's about trying to recreate the past, to perfect memory, and about how destructive that can be. Fifth, the film's reevaluation. When Vertigo was first released, it confused audiences. It didn't behave like a traditional thriller. It was slow, psychological, and emotionally ambiguous. But in 2012, it famously dethroned Citizen Kane as the greatest film of all time in the Sight and Sound Critics poll. That shift speaks to the film's layered construction. The more you look, the more you see. But as with any great work, Vertigo isn't without its flaws. Let's now look at the bad. First, the pacing. Even fans of the film acknowledge it moves slowly. The first half is largely devoted to Scotty tailing Madeline through the streets of San Francisco. While visually stunning, it can feel repetitive and indulgent. For modern audiences, especially those expecting a taut Hitchcock thriller, the tempo may feel glacial. Second, character empathy. James Stewart's character starts off sympathetic, but by the final act, his transformation is deeply unsettling. He gaslights and coerces Judy, pushing her to become someone she's not. While this is clearly intentional, it's part of the critique. It makes it hard to emotionally invest in him as a protagonist. By the end, we're watching someone unravel, but not in a way that invites understanding, just discomfort. Third, underwritten female roles. Kim Novak does an incredible job playing two roles, but her characters are more symbolic than human. Madeline is a mystery, and Judy is a reconstruction. We rarely see Judy's internal world, only Scotty's version of her. The film's psychological depth is mostly confined to the male lead, leaving the woman at the center of the story feeling like a canvas rather than a character. Fourth, exposition. One of the biggest criticisms of Vertigo is the decision to reveal the plot twist, the truth behind Judy and Madeline, before the final act. This was a bold choice by Hitchcock, meant to build dramatic tension, not mystery. But some viewers feel this robbed the film of its suspense, making the second half feel inevitable rather than surprising. Fifth, it's not for everyone. Vertigo is a psychological puzzle, not a thriller in the conventional sense. If you go into it expecting chases, twists, and shocks, you might walk away disappointed. It's a slow burn, and its brilliance lies beneath the surface. you have to work with the film to get the full reward. So where does that leave us? Vertigo is a masterpiece, yes, but not in the traditional sense. It's not perfect. It's strange, unsettling, and at times difficult. But that's also what makes it great. It's a film about illusion that constantly plays with the viewer's expectations. It invites you to question not only the characters, but yourself. What are you looking for in a story? In a person? In the past? It's a film that improves with every viewing. The first time, you might find it slow or even cold. The second time, you start to see the details. By the third, you begin to realize Vertigo isn't about love or murder. It's about control, delusion, and the dangers of idealizing the unreachable. So, is Vertigo Hitchcock's best film? That's up for debate. But it's certainly his most personal, his most haunting, and perhaps his most daring. What do you think? Is Vertigo worthy of its modern reputation? Or is it a case of critics loving something the audience never really asked for? Let me know in the comments. Hit like if you're into classic cinema with bite,